The purpose of my lecture today is to bring you closer to a healthy lifestyle. The topic of health is painful, therefore I will have to speak boldly about some things. Some things will be difficult for you to understand. But we need to talk, because otherwise it's very difficult to be healthy. Let's return to the topic that is the main source of destruction in human life. This is the topic that I touched upon in the previous lecture. This is the topic of our psyche, our subtle energy body. I have been studying it for 20 years, and I have a deep understanding of what's going on there. For all people who receive treatment from us, we first test the subtle energy body. I perceive people's subtle energy channels well. Every person has 14 energy layers in their body. Of these, 4 layers have a tendency to develop chronic diseases in every person from birth. This doesn't change throughout life. It will remain the same. Who among you doesn't believe in this? Raise your hand. Boldly, don't be afraid. Good. Thank you for helping me. I can tell you about your channels if you don't believe me. Faith always arises as a result of experience. You need experience. There is a second energy layer. Each layer is connected with the regulation of something. The second energy layer is connected with the regulation of internal blood vessels of the body. This is the vascular layer connected with blood vessels, and in your case, regulation is disturbed where the brain vessels are located. Therefore, you already have vegetative vascular dystonia, disruption of cerebral blood circulation regulation. Doctors may say, but everyone has it now. I disagree. I can show, for example, who doesn't have it. Lady in black? No, not you. Next to you. You don't have it. Your blood vessel regulation in the head is fine, but you have it. You have excessive heat in your brain, and this sometimes causes lethargy, a feeling of lacking a good tone. This is the first chronic problem. It also causes problems with the nasal canals. The same channel causes problems with the nasal canals and sometimes with the throat. You have a blockage at the head level. Usually not the entire channel gets blocked. And this channel also suffers at the level of lower extremities. Down in the shins, the blood vessels are also disturbed. This can lead to varicose disease. Do you have varicose veins? No. I'm talking to the lady behind you, in the 3rd row. She says yes. And I'm telling you that this is what has been following you since birth. It depends on how you will live. If you live right, it won't develop. But if you don't live right, it may develop. The next problem I noticed is connected to your joints. This is also a problem that will always exist. Now they are more or less normal, but already, as it seems to me, there are some disturbances in the elbow joints and in the shin joints, in ankles, right here. This is also something that has been following you all your life. I named 2 out of 4 disorders. I'm looking sequentially deeper because this was the 3rd energy layer. I'm looking. The 4th one is normal. Your fat metabolism is good. Next, the next energy layer is responsible for the bone system. The previous energy layer was also responsible for muscles. This muscular system disturbs the joints. You have to get massages, do gymnastics, and all this will improve. On the energy level related to the bones, everything is normal. But on the layer connected with the nervous system, there are 2 disorders at once. There are 2 channels affected. This means that you should rest and learn to restore your nervous system. You are prone to depression and to irritability in relationships with people. Did I make any mistakes? No. Do you believe me? Good. I won't tell this to everyone, otherwise it will be like in the cartoon, Boniface visiting grandmother. Do you remember this cartoon? He went on holiday to his grandmother to have some rest and showed the monkeys a little bit of his juggling, and then his holiday was over. The monkeys exhausted him, and he ran away from them. I'm not comparing anyone to anyone. It's just a cartoon. Why did I tell you about these energy channels and show by example? So that you understand that this is very important knowledge. See, there are very few people at the lecture. Do you know why? Last time, before ending the lecture, I asked, "Are you sure you need the next lecture?" Everyone said, "Yes," and half showed up. Why? Because people don't understand why this is necessary. Human health is a dark forest. We understand this only when we're already in intensive care. Only in this case we begin to understand that we need health. Before that, everything is at the subconscious level. A person exploits their body, uses it until the very end while it works, and then starts limping. But there is another way to live, to cleanse your body and make it healthy for a long time. You need to plan your life for a long time ahead.
That half will return if you continue giving lectures about family.
I decided to lecture about health. I had confirmation last week. A person very close to me passed away. Stage 4 cancer. The person burned out literally in a few days. I decided that I don't want people to suffer from this, and we are going to talk about this now. These subtle energy channels get blocked. This is the influence of time. There are two ways they get blocked. First way, a person lives wrong. What does it mean? Wrong? Basic sign of wrongness is when a person eats late in the evening and reduces their life expectancy. And what exactly do they eat? If they eat a little bit of vegetables that are not too salty, not too spicy, and not too fatty, then they don't shorten their life, because vegetables ripen under moonlight, and moonlight helps their digestion. Similarly, milk matures under moonlight. Therefore, milk is beneficial in the evening and early morning, but during the day it's not very good to drink it. There are exceptions. If a woman has very strong hormonal functions, she's nursing a child. Or the woman herself is moon-faced, she has big eyes, she's very beautiful, she can drink milk all her life. She has a very strong connection with the moon. Day, evening, night, doesn't matter. You're laughing, right? You can drink milk around the clock and won't have any problems. But not everyone can do this. For example, you already have a weaker connection with the moon. The lady next to you, you shouldn't drink milk during the day anymore. It's different for everyone. But there are patterns. A person can drink milk 2 hours before sleep and early in the morning. When the sun hasn't risen too high yet, you can drink fresh milk. In the morning, it's better to drink cold milk, and in the evening, hot milk with honey. Hot milk with honey calms a person very much and relaxes the subtle energy channels, maintaining their productivity and ability to function normally. The first reason they get blocked is that we violate the rules of life. When the sun is high during the day, the heaviest food is digested, and that's when we should eat it. Early in the morning, sweet food is digested. That's what we should eat in the morning. And in the evening, fruits or dried fruits are digested by those who feel hot in life. How to determine if I feel hot in life? I open the window when I sleep at night and throw off my blanket. This means you can eat fruits in the evening. Which fruits are cooling? They are apples, pears, bananas, persimmons, and plums. But there are fruits that you should never eat at night. These are oranges, tangerines, lemons, and grapefruit. Everyone can only eat them in the morning, because they always warm you up. In the morning you should eat a little food, and it should be sweet. In the evening it should be cooling or calming food. These are fruits for those who feel hot, and for those who are opposite, who have tension, it's stewed vegetables, but not raw. Speaking of stewed vegetables, it's better not to stew them too much. They should be half fresh. And this food is healthier. It's best to stew vegetables in the oven in the evening. Baked food is healthier than fried. A person sometimes needs fried food too, but not over-fried, just slightly fried. When a person follows certain rules related to food, it's very important that food is digested. This extends life. For example, I can't eat little portions. I eat a lot at lunch because I have very strong digestion. But in return, I only eat some fruits and milk in the evening, and I don't eat it all in the morning. My food that I ate during the day and evening is being digested all morning. By 1 o'clock, my food will be digested. Therefore, by 1 o'clock, everything is already digested and I feel hungry. And this means that I can live long. But if a person doesn't feel hungry, they just want to eat because life is hard, it causes a person to get sick. Keep in mind that if a man can eat and walk half a day like a camel, a woman has a different body structure. A man eats to have strength. That's why he eats a lot. But a woman eats to have the energy of love, and the energy of love works differently. A woman eats for taste, not for strength. If a woman likes something, she can eat a lot of it. If she doesn't like it, she just eats a little bit to become slightly calmer. But a woman snacks rather than eats. She always eats in small portions. Therefore, women need to have fractional nutrition, but at the same time, it is important to follow the rules. Lunch should be bigger, dinner smaller, breakfast smaller. Rules are still necessary. And one should not forget about movement. A person should understand that they need to train their body every day. For instance, at least walk 2 kilometers, do some bending exercises, do something to make this training happen. If a person doesn't train their body, then these energy channels freeze like jelly. Look, let's take elderly people as an example. If you look at them carefully, you'll notice that they fall into 2 categories. The first category of elderly people are those who are very tense. It seems as if they're hunched over, very stiff. This means that their subtle energy body has already frozen. It has stopped working properly. This stiffened subtle energy body is the cause of many chronic diseases. The second category of elderly people are those who have aged, but their body, as you can see, isn't as tense. They look somewhat softer. This means they will live a long life. For those who are tense, it is important to know that if a person is tense, twisted, it is a main sign of aging. There is one more category of elderly people. These are those who are overweight. This also means that the person is aging. How is it possible to determine if a person is aging? They are twisted or bloated. Now, what should be done to prevent this? If a person is overweight, they need to fast, do water fasting, or stop eating at night. After all, most often people are overweight due to their evening meals, flour-based foods, meat at night, and that's it. Goodbye to health in this regard. Each person has their own predisposition. For example, sometimes a person eats very little but still gets overweight. This indicates a predisposition. That's how their body is built. This is where the battlefield for fate is located. Other people don't gain weight, but they get stiff. I get stiff, that's the way my body's built, so I struggle with that. The exercises that I do, as I explained in the previous lecture, and how I do them. I destroy the tension in the body through such asceticism practice. Flights make the body even more tense, so I have to lie in water for a long time. The contrast of hot and cold water relaxes the body. So as you can see, there are two directions in the struggle for one's existence. This is the fight against excess weight and the fight against stiffness. We fight against excess weight by reducing our evening diet, because that's the way our environment is structured. Now listen carefully. From 12 noon to 12 midnight, food is absorbed, and from 12 midnight to 12 noon, metabolism is enhanced. From 12 midnight to 12 noon, the sun rises. This is the time when everything comes into motion, into life, which means that substances are broken down in the body. And from 12 noon to 12 midnight, substances are absorbed in the body. Therefore, if the main meal falls on the time before noon, then everything will be decomposed in the body, which means that excess weight will be reduced. In other words, if a person, for example, stops eating from 1 p.m., this is the best way to lose weight. And the best way to cleanse the body is not to eat in the morning. You can eat during lunch and eat a little bit in the evening, but in the morning it's better not to eat at all. Then the toxins in the body are removed. What are toxins? This is when a person has colds or becomes nervous, irritable. In addition to these signs, pimples appear all over the body. They have unhealthy skin. The skin layer suffers. Bowel movements are disturbed. These are signs that some unnecessary substances are accumulating in the body. This means you need to keep the morning free and fast to burn off those toxins, because they are burned off at sunrise when the sun comes up. Is the system clear? Now you'll say, Dr. Torsunov, this is complete nonsense. Why should I do all this, try to burn something?
Can I ask a question?
A little later, please be patient. So, why should I burn all this? I'm living just fine as it is. Why bother with all this? What toxins, what burning? I know my neighbor who runs all the time. She's always burning something, always talking about some kind of toxins. Do we really need to live like that? Do we really need to be thinking about food all the time, constantly burning something? No, you shouldn't live like that. You need to think about God, about people, about fulfilling your duty. But if you don't want to perform asceticism practice related to the body, then don't expect to live a long life, with a few exceptions. I know people who by fate have good health and don't accumulate any toxins. These people have two characteristics in their nature. The first characteristic is that they never eat a lot. They always naturally limit themselves in food, because their brains are constructed in such a way. The second characteristic is that they are always on the move. That's it. That's the way things work for them. They can't help but move, because they want to do it. They can't eat much. They understand that they don't need to do it. That's it. But the human body is not internally built in this way. And the third characteristic is that they have a very calm mind. They never lose their balance. They always behave calmly. This is a sign of longevity. These are 3 signs of longevity. A person limits themselves in food, the first sign. The second sign, they are always on the move in their life. The third sign is that they have a calm mind. Now the question is, how long can a person actually live? I can determine how long a person lives. Just by looking at a person, I can determine their age. I recently found a photo on the internet of a person who was claimed to have lived over 250 years, 256 or something like that, and there was a photo. I looked at the photo, and indeed he had lived over 250 years. That is 100%. Well, at least if you trust me in this regard, I've made sure it's true. It's 100% information. I do this practice with trees. For example, sometimes, in a holy place they say, this tree is 2,000 years old. I immediately thought, I'll check it out. I look at it. No, it's younger. This happens. But people believe it. That's good. It's normal. It's not a problem. So, a person can live a long time. This person who has lived so long has been eating only roots throughout his life. Well, only a few people can live like that. Just imagine, eating only roots is unrealistic. I'm not talking about beetroot and carrots. Do you know what it means to eat roots? It's roots from the herb. These herb roots are completely tasteless. Well, that means he was taking serious care of his health. Every day he collected herbs in the mountains. He was also a doctor for the first 100 years. He treated everybody with these herbs. By the way, there is evidence for this. He is mentioned in all chronicles. There are documents confirming that he lived at that time. That means a person lives and lives. His grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren know about him. Everyone says, we have such a grandfather, and grandfather stayed alive while they all died, and so on. It doesn't matter. Why are we more likely to die in our 50s and 60s? People die unexpectedly. I'll tell you now, there are many theories about why cancer occurs, and most of these theories are somehow close to the truth, but more often than not, these are just fantasies of a sick imagination. These subtle energy channels can become blocked in different ways. Look, when the channel is slightly blocked, dysfunction occurs. What is dysfunction? It's gastritis, cholecystitis, and pancreatitis. Something is inflamed, right? There is not enough subtle energy, happiness energy, to nourish the organ. The energy of happiness is not enough to nourish the organ, and that is why inflammation, some complications and processes begin there. If the channel becomes even more blocked, then a benign tumor or cyst appears. What is it? This is the conception of another life in the body. This is not another life in the body, but just its beginning. Sometimes it happens that this conception never turns into another life. But I'll tell you how this transformation into another life takes place. It happens that these subtle energy channels, when they are blocked, are energetically very close to each other, as if they are on the same wavelength. If two similar channels are strongly blocked at the same wavelength, then a connection can be established between them. They can sort of unite into one. And when this unification into one occurs, then a living entity settles there, which develops inside our body. This living entity has its own development patterns. This means that if you suppress it in one of the energy channels, I've already tried to do all this, it jumps to another one and develops there. If suppressed in both energy channels simultaneously, it becomes dormant, doesn't develop, but waits until the body can no longer suppress it. And when the body can no longer suppress it, it begins to develop again. It mainly grows when a person sleeps. For example, a person sleeps at night, and at this time the tumor grows. This means when we are inactive, it becomes active. Well, that is, then further the tumor begins to spread to those energy zones. For example, if the channel is blocked with muscle tissue, then metastases will go to the muscles. If the channel is blocked by bone tissue, then metastases will go to the bones, and so on. This means that when the two channels are blocked together, the development of this malignant tumor begins. What is this thing? This is a war inside our body, military action. Some people think, I'll just fast now, cleanse my body, and the cancer will disappear. Well, let's say, if a tank is coming at you, you put up a wall and say, that's it, the tank isn't coming at me, but it just breaks through the wall. Because this is a war. There's no guarantee that if you fast, the malignant tumor will disappear. And there's no guarantee that you will be able to cure it with simple herbs. I've been studying this topic. There are herbs such as hemlock and many others. They are very pungent, lush herbs that can corrode if a person gets this quite correctly, because each herb also acts on its specific energy channels. If you miss, then goodbye. But if you hit exactly the target, you're somehow lucky, the doctor prescribed it correctly, then this herb can somehow restrain the tumor growth if you keep your subtle energy channels in the right condition. You have a tendency for them to be cleansed, at least from this tumor on the subtle plane, because even if the cleansing occurs on the subtle plane, you still need to destroy the tumor on the physical plane. Overall, it's a complex topic. I've tried both ways, but it's very difficult to treat this disease because, as you should know, tree roots are 10 times stronger than plant roots. That's why people don't use tree roots to treat malignant tumors, because they are all poisonous. But there's no difference whether to place the roots outside or inside, because from an energetic standpoint, the outside is better. But the goal is to suppress the tumor's energy, to destroy it energetically. Once it's energetically weakened, it can no longer live normally. Then the body consumes it itself without any problems. We started using tree roots. The result was very weak. Why? Because there are many obstacles in the body that prevent the penetration of these roots. If a person was completely healthy and everything else, then this energy from outside would reach the tumor and dissolve it. But sometimes there's an obstacle in the body in the form of strong tension or strong heat, and the roots don't always reach the tumor. Well, that's the conclusion I've come to. The conclusion is this: all these methods related to body healing, and I've studied many different ones, all of them can just help a person somehow resist a malignant tumor, but not cure it. And if we're talking about treatment, then if it can be surgically removed, remove it immediately, because this is war. If you hit a tank, that's good. War is war and nothing can be done about it. Well, that means chemotherapy. Don't be afraid of it. These are harsh treatment methods that will help remove the tumor but age the body. But there's no choice. You need to weaken the tumor, and then through body cleansing, with the help of these various roots, it can be completely destroyed. If, for example, you've surgically removed most of it, then you can get rid of it by leading a healthy lifestyle and burning it inside. Fasting also helps well, but you need to fast so as not to lose weight. You need to be very careful while fasting. If you start losing weight, then it only benefits the tumor. In other words, traditional medicine remains the main treatment for the malignant tumors. These are surgery, radiation therapy, and chemotherapy. That's what I can tell you for sure. And regarding chemotherapy, I've studied this. Israel and Germany are the best options. They give the best chemotherapy, and in Russia and other countries, all these are counterfeits. As for viral infections, that's a slightly different matter. There are channels in the body that are blocked, and they can be blocked just for a very short time. It happens that these microorganisms, these viruses, bacteria, settle in this blocked zone and start to multiply there. Fight them. What I'm going to tell you now is extremely important for your life. Try to understand that lately these viral infections have an unclear etiology of recognition and have a very slow, barely noticeable progression. Well, I know some cases when my friends almost passed away because they just didn't pay attention to it. Look, if you have such a thing in your body, you feel lethargy, weakness, some kind of heat in the body, or maybe a slight fever for a long time. You feel that your appetite is reduced, it's hard for you to sleep, you feel that you sweat a little at night, and your working capacity is reduced, you are not in the mood, and this has been going on for a month. Raise your hand if you have this. Definitely you. That's right, you all have a viral infection, no one is wrong. And in addition, you are 100% allergic. You see, my dears, that you're killing yourself now? And now on our website, torsunov.ru, there's a developer program. As the critics tell me there, Dr. Torsunov ties pine branches for $100. Not for $100, but for free. There's information on the website, go there. I'm telling you all now, just follow the instructions, everything is described there how to do it. I won't waste lecture time now, you'll use 3 components to yourself. Pine branches with needles, a piece of ginger and white, black pepper, 10 peas each, all 3 components together, then one of them will work because there are different virus strains. Some of them are suppressed by pine, some by pepper, some by ginger. We've been studying this for 20 years. 2 weeks later you can say, goodbye virus. Goodbye to this virus, which is transmitted through the nose via the respiratory route. With this method, goodbye virus, and you're saved because a lot of people are dying from it right now. And death is recorded as an unclear cause. It's not clear why the person passed away, but in fact everything is clear. This is how the virus behaves. It gives complications in the body. These complications are connected with nervous system activity, respiratory arrest, or some vascular processes occur, and so on. Consult a specialist, and they will explain everything to you about how to apply it. If you don't want to spend money, you can handle it yourself. That's fine too. Detailed instructions are available. Remember, there are viruses like hepatitis C. I've been studying this topic seriously and can confirm that there are modern medications that eradicate the hepatitis C virus. There is even an Indian generic equivalent to German drugs that cost 10 times less and is just as effective at eliminating the hepatitis C virus. Look online for information about these medications. I won't name them specifically. There are simply pills that destroy these viruses. You can inquire during a free personal consultation. The information will be provided to you. I don't want to make this public because I could be accused of promoting specific products. But it's a fact that there are medicines that can eradicate hepatitis C. People completely recover. Of course, we can't definitively confirm this without a 15-year medical history. However, for several years, patients have reported excellent test results, which is already a good foundation for living well, right? Regarding AIDS, I can't say I've heard of a complete cure. However, taking medication is better than attempting to treat it through alternative methods. It's best to take conventional medications and maintain a healthy lifestyle, because when your energy channels are clean, the virus has nowhere to replicate. It only thrives in polluted channels. Now, what does it mean to have clean channels? How do you cleanse them? Let's discuss this. The first thing I would recommend is both free and doesn't require any deep knowledge. It's a method of tremendous power. Even if someone is knowledgeable, it's unlikely they can help people as effectively as this approach can. This is tree therapy. Today I was walking in the park and found a birch tree larger in size than myself. That's a key condition. The trees need to be big for effective healing. I stood next to this birch tree. Birch suits me personally, and spent about 16 minutes there. All my energy channels were completely cleansed. Of course, they'll become polluted again over time as we live and accumulate impurities. It typically takes me 2 hours of yoga to cleanse my channels, but standing next to this tree for 20 minutes did the same. How do you choose a tree? First, understand that even trees of the same species like birches can have different constitutions. Observe the trees closely and look for the one that feels calming to you. It shouldn't energize or uplift you. It should simply make you feel calm. This sense of calmness indicates it's the right tree for you. That's the first thing to understand. Stand near the tree and observe it. It should be thick and straight. If the tree is leaning, it won't heal you. It should grow straight upward and be thick, thicker than a person, roughly speaking. Look at the tree. You should feel that it doesn't repel or intimidate you. You should feel calm and kind toward it, sensing that it's yours. Stand next to it and see how you feel. If you feel any discomfort, step away, don't proceed. But if you feel relaxed, at ease, and pleasant, it means the tree will fully support your healing. Be aware that during a 20-minute session, you might feel the urge to leave about 4 times because we have 4 major energy layers in our bodies. When you approach a new layer, you may feel an urge to step away because the energy is breaking through, but the cleansing continues deeper and deeper. If the tree starts to make you feel tense after initially relaxing you, don't leave at that moment. This means that a part of your body is undergoing healing. Leave only when you feel a sense of lightness throughout your body, which usually takes about 16 to 20 minutes. What does this healing do for the body? How do you find the right tree? Who still doesn't understand how to find a tree? Raise your hand. Okay, any tree that is thick, old, and appeals to you personally is the right tree. Everyone has their own trees. If you still can't choose one on your own, we'll organize a paid consultation on our website, conducted by my assistants, not me. It's not complicated. You will take photos of about 10 trees near you, specific trees that are accessible and that you can stand by. We will choose the tree that suits you best. This is the tree for you. Just stand by it. Although we haven't yet developed this consultation service, we will. We'll identify the trees most suitable for you to stand near. The consultation will cost about 1,000 rubles, but you can also choose on your own. Stand by one tree, then another, and another. One of them will feel just right. Explore this method. It becomes clear quickly, within 5-10 minutes. Do you realize how powerful this practice is for a person? How should you stand? You should lean your back against the tree and just stand there.
When is the best time to do this?
The best time is when the sun is rising and moving upward. Evening is less effective. It's better to do this in the first half of the day. In fact, most treatments should be done in the first half of the day, except for cleansing procedures, which are better done at night. Most healing practices should be done during the first half of the day, when the sun is ascending. The early morning sun is always the best. During this treatment, as you stand near the tree, don't think about the tree, and don't kiss or hug it. We often have a primitive understanding of a tree's life. The tree is sleeping. It senses you, but doesn't comprehend anything. This form of life doesn't have self-awareness. It will feel your love and accept it gladly. Just pray during this time. Simply pray. Recite prayers. You can stand with headphones on, listening to a holy person, or recite your own prayer in your faith while standing next to the tree. People passing by may think you're strange. Don't pay attention to that. It's normal. When someone does something energetically powerful that is beyond their usual self, it often raises eyebrows. For example, if someone is running down the street, how do others react? With caution. Some respect it, while others mock it. When a person is saving their life, actively working on themselves, it often causes confusion because most people live in a passive state. They don't want to overcome their fate, which is why it causes confusion. What's the best way to ride the subway? The best way is to repeat to yourself, I wish everyone happiness. That's the best way. Then you will always be happy, and everyone around you will be happy too. But if you do this out loud, everyone will turn away from you. Why? Because it causes confusion. So don't repeat out loud, I wish everyone happiness on the subway. That would seem insane. Have you seen that video about laughter yoga? Have you? Look it up online. It's a 5-minute video. The premise is that someone gets on a tram, sits down and starts laughing. Within 5 minutes, the whole tram is laughing. Then he gets off, boards the next train, and starts laughing there. That's how he spends part of his day. Just making everyone laugh. It's laughter therapy. What is laughter? It's triumph over fate. When a person laughs, they're defeating their destiny. But you don't have to get on a tram and start laughing. I'm just sharing this as a humorous example. It's interesting to watch because it illustrates how to behave in the subway. This is an important topic, how to act in the subway. To do this, you need a strong, positive mindset. You have to be very strong and positive because the subway environment is overwhelmingly negative. 5 minutes on the subway and your whole day can feel heavy. How can you stay strong and positive? In the subway, you should do the following. Put spiritual music from your tradition or faith into both ears. Quietly repeat a prayer and smile at everyone. Don't act like you're elevated and pure while everyone else is dirty. Don't think that way. It's bad. Instead, love everyone, listen to spiritual music, and quietly repeat a prayer without moving your lips. That's the best protection in the subway. Even if it's crowded and people are pushing you, it doesn't matter. You're completely protected. This is the best defense. Dedicate your time in the subway solely to this practice. Don't do anything else because it's dangerous. Even if you try to read, you might still be affected negatively. It's an aggressive environment with people in a bad mood. Feel like sleeping? Don't. It's better to stand. If you're falling asleep while sitting, it's better to stand in the subway. If you sleep, you'll absorb even more negativity. It's not a place for sleeping. Now, how do you recognize the onset of a malignant tumor? The first thing I want you to understand is the importance of fasting once a week. You also need to engage in active movement at least twice a week, something that suits your nature. For women, it's best to move to music, like aerobics or dancing, because moving without music doesn't feel natural for them. Women need the energy of love in their movement. For men, it varies. Some benefit from running, others from lifting weights, doing basic exercises, or engaging in combat sports. Movement is essential for men's health. If a man doesn't run, jump, wrestle, or lift weights, he won't stay healthy. For men, doing this for an hour twice a week is enough to maintain health. For women, fasting and movement to music are highly beneficial. These practices extend life and reduce the risk of developing malignant tumors. If you already have a benign tumor, here are some tips. First, I'll explain different fasting systems. Please choose a system that works for you and stick to it. Second, to eliminate benign tumors in the body, you'll need some assistance. We offer a treatment involving a serpentine belt. This treatment uses serpentine plates attached to a belt. This belt significantly helps dissolve benign tumors, especially if you maintain sufficient physical activity. With enough movement and the belt, it's enough for tumors to begin to dissipate. We customize this belt individually and monitor your progress. It's reasonably priced. What other methods are effective? Homeopathy can sometimes help, but you need to find a good doctor because it can adjust hormonal functions. Homeopathy combined with movement, again, is beneficial. There are also roots like yarrow, St. John's wort, and celandine, which promote the dissolution of malignant tumors. But you have to be cautious because these roots, especially celandine, are semi-toxic. Its juice is particularly toxic, which can be dangerous. What does caution mean? If you feel weakness, it means it's no longer working well and could be harmful. The treatment should not cause strain on the body or any adverse reactions. What else can be used to treat benign tumors? Simply doing intensive exercise can cure small benign tumors. Movement combined with fasting until noon can be effective. Now, which foods help clear your energy channels? Root vegetables. If you eat raw roots as the main part of your diet and engage in active movements like running, bending exercises, or using a hula hoop for women, everything clogging your channels will start to burn away. Root vegetables include raw beets, raw carrots, raw celery, any edible roots. Consuming these is better than using toxic roots. In general, I want to emphasize that it's better to heal with food rather than medications because food provides a gentler and healthier approach. There's less risk of overburdening your body. Roots help dissolve benign tumors. Any roots you like will work. You can choose for yourself. But don't forget movement. Remember this. You need to move and fast until noon to eliminate toxins. Dissolution happens only when we fast until noon, because if we eat in the morning, the body won't have enough energy to dissolve the tumor. All dissolution occurs from midnight to noon. During this time, we need to rest well at night and do activities like jogging or running in the morning.
Can we eat beets and carrots in the morning?
No, it's better to eat them during the day. If you eat them in the morning, you prevent your body from dissolving the tumor. It's better to drink water in the morning. Let's talk about fasting so you understand what this treatment is and why it's needed. Fasting is necessary for cleansing the body. It's a natural way to detoxify. Different types of fastings are intended for different kinds of cleansing. You can cleanse your character, your body, or even your destiny with fasting. Let's start with character cleansing. To cleanse your character, a simple water fasting is sufficient. It's the simplest and most harmless fasting. You can drink as much water as you want. You can choose between two types of fasting, fasting until noon or fasting all day. I strictly forbid you to fast until evening and then eat dinner. That destroys health. In religious contexts, some people do this and that's their choice, but from a health perspective, you should either break your fasting at noon or the following morning. No other options. How does fasting heal character? Sometimes you might feel like you're a weak person, not respected in society, or unable to keep promises. For men, this manifests as being undervalued by women. They meet someone, but the relationship doesn't last, or they feel unnoticed in society. If he has difficulty respecting himself as this pertains to your son, then fast on Sundays. These problems stem from issues with the sun or incorrect sun energy influence.
What about fasting on Ekadashi?
Fasting on Ekadashi supports spiritual growth. However, I'm speaking about character development now. Don't think that any fasting will develop character. I'm explaining how each day of the week is associated with developing specific traits. This isn't something only I know. It's an ancient understanding. For example, Sunday translates as the day of the sun in English. Monday comes from moon, the day of the moon, and so on. In many languages, the days of the week correspond to the names of planets. So just take this as fact. I've been studying this for a long time and know exactly how it works. I've seen examples of people transforming their character through such fasting practices. Additionally, fasting on Sundays strengthens immunity, helps fulfill vows, facilitates career advancement, improves social standing, and fosters responsibility. For men, it even enhances attractiveness, as responsibility is a hallmark of masculine beauty. The power of responsibility inspires admiration in women. They are naturally drawn to it. Sometimes a person might feel it's very difficult to build relationships with close ones, as though there's a chasm or barrier in those relationships. If a person feels that their sleep is disturbed, they are overly sensitive, irritable, prone to mental overload in interactions with others. If a woman has painful menstruation or an irregular disrupted cycle, it means she should fast on water on Mondays. If a woman cannot get married for a long time, feels coldness in her heart, and cannot love anyone, fasting on Monday is needed. If a person is weak-willed, has poor digestion, if men experience issues with semen production or deficiency, or if someone finds it hard to stand up for their rights, is weak-willed, cannot maintain a daily routine, lacks energy for work or career progression, or in relationships cannot defend their stance or express themselves, if instead of anger they respond with tears and offense, then fasting on Tuesday is necessary. For women, tears and offense are normal, but for men, this means they should fast on Tuesday. This indicates a poor connection with Mars. Monday is connected with the moon. The moon governs family relationships. Tuesday is connected with Mars. Mars governs willpower, digestion, male reproductive functions, and for women, uterine tone. If there are miscarriages, women should also fast on Tuesday. An inability to assert one's opinion, weak willpower, or conversely, excessive aggression and constant domination over others also call for fasting on Tuesday. Are you bored? This is a thematic lecture. Usually I entertain you, sing and dance, but here I am not entertaining. Perhaps you're starting to feel sleepy. Should I entertain you? There are religious fastings. Some people say, it is on this day that you receive God's love. Another says, no, it's on that day. Understand that religious fastings mean fasting according to your faith. Whatever you believe in, that is where your connection with God lies. And it is in this faith that you should fast on the days prescribed by your religion. Look at religious calendars to see when to fast and do it for God. At this time, fasting is meant to free up energy for prayer. If you fast and spend that time doing unrelated things, it becomes meaningless. Fasting is meant to help you think more about God and pray. Energy is freed up for this purpose. Each person should find their own fasting. Religious fasting enhances spiritual strength and the ability to overcome destiny. Connection with God strengthens within each person's faith. On Wednesday, one should fast if they feel out of sync with the weather. A change in weather makes them ill. They find it hard to interact with others, have few friends, and struggle to engage with society, not just with close ones. Their speech is weak, and they find it hard to express their thoughts. They might experience dysfunctions in their body, like irregular heart rhythm or bile duct issues. This indicates a need to fast on water on Wednesdays. It suggests a weak connection with Mercury throughout life. If a person feels uninspired in life, often depressed, finds it hard to choose a mentor or faith, lacks the willpower or enthusiasm to grow or work on themselves, they should fast on Thursdays. This indicates a weak connection with Jupiter. Such people usually have weak immunity as well. Sometimes people feel no joy in life, no happiness, no delight. Women often experience depressive states, constant tears, and sensitivity. There might be hormonal issues, weight imbalances, frequent obesity, or extreme thinness. Men might lack joy in life, struggle to form positive, kind relationships with others, and find no beauty in the world or nature. Everything feels empty. In such cases, fasting on Fridays is recommended. This cleanses the sensory perception of the world, helping the senses connect with it. This is associated with Venus. If life feels unbearably difficult, no job, no family, lawsuits, unpaid mortgages, conflicts with authorities, or if one dreams of escaping Russia because life feels impossible there, longing to move somewhere far away where everything is better, tense relationships with everyone suggest the need to fast on Saturdays. This indicates poor relations with Saturn. In such cases, fasting on water on Saturdays is recommended. Do you understand the connection between fasting and days of the week? These fasts are linked to character traits.
What if someone doesn't eat at all?
If you don't eat at all, you'll die. Thank you for the question. That was amusing. Thanks for livening things up. It was getting a bit dull without you. Some people say, Dr. Torsunov, I like everything. I fast all week. I promise you, in this case, nothing good will come of it. Your strength aligns with only one day. Don't fast for 2 consecutive days. That's foolish. There's no need to abuse your body. What we're doing is deep healing, running in place to exhaustion, as in that song. It mocked those who engage in exercise mindlessly. When it comes to exercise, know that the best running is when you enjoy it. The best gymnastics is when you enjoy doing it. But this, just a little more and a little more, is not running. It's self-torture. Enjoy the running, enjoy the water, enjoy nature, enjoy the sun. Healing occurs through joy. If you set goals like, today I'll run 1 kilometer, tomorrow 1.5, the day after tomorrow 3, it's no longer healing. At that point, you're just proving to yourself that you're impressive.
How often should one run per month?
Once a year. If you're not running twice a week, there's no point in discussing running. Sometimes I run when I'm in a hurry somewhere. Once a year doesn't count as exercise.
What if it's part of your lifestyle?
We don't have a lifestyle, we have faith in something and we act on it. You don't understand. Okay, I'll explain. If my lifestyle involves breathing into a tube, what does that mean? It means I misunderstood something before. Let me clarify something for you now. If you have a loved one, you will find time during the day to meet with them, honestly. Will you find time or won't you, if you truly love someone deeply?
Of course.
Of course, you'll find time. The same applies to exercise. If you love it, you'll do it.
You were talking about when to drink water. I drink water in the first half of the day and start eating after noon. You said it's not okay to fast every day?
Perfect, super. I do the same. We share similar habits. It's fine. But if you're saying your lifestyle doesn't allow time for exercise, it means you just want to experiment with your life.
No, I exercise.
I'm not talking about you, but about everyone in general. If you want to experiment with things like breathing into a tube or defecating into a tube, then go ahead and try. It won't take long to see the results. The issue is that in the past, people didn't need all this. They lived in nature. Nature itself healed them. They worked physically throughout the day. They wished happiness to everyone because it was part of the culture. Step into the metro now and you'll see what I mean. Everyone is stressed, burdened, and no one wishes anything good for anyone. There's no nature around, just concrete jungles. There's no fresh air to breathe. Our bodies aren't meant to breathe only asphalt. Asphalt doesn't bring health, and stone buildings don't either. Trees give health. Why do we need to stand by trees and provoke ridicule from our neighbors? Why should we risk our reputation? She started attending Dr. Torsunov's lectures. Look at the result. Now she's always standing by trees. Soon we'll put her in the house of the unknown architect.
Is dry fasting good?
It's fine. We'll get to that. Pregnant women should avoid it. Be cautious. Don't risk your milk supply. If you try fasting, you might lose your milk. Don't do it. The body is sensitive. Handle it carefully. If you're pregnant or breastfeeding, it's not necessary. Now, about starting and breaking a fasting. A great question. Starting is simple. You wake up and don't eat, just drink water. Breaking it should be done very gently with light food. Everyone has their own version of light food, but I'll share some general options. Foods you can choose from include stewed spinach. It's very light food. Dates, they're very light food. Bananas, also very light. Avocado is light food. Diluted kefir, this is light food.
How diluted?
About half water. Papaya is also light food. Start with monodiet foods, eating just one product, either dates, bananas, or stewed spinach. Spinach greens are the lightest food. Those are the main options. Can you suggest anything else? Buckwheat with milk? Buckwheat with milk is light food for some. You can add buckwheat, I agree. Not just plain buckwheat, but mixed with milk early in the morning before sunrise. Buckwheat with kefir can work during the day. Soft stewed buckwheat. Plain buckwheat isn't light food, but combined with dairy, it becomes light. Beets aren't light food, apples aren't either, nor are cucumbers. Zucchini might work. Try breaking your fasting with stewed zucchini if you enjoy that. Sauerkraut isn't light food, nor is cottage cheese. It's better not to add oil when breaking a fasting. Baked tomatoes are definitely not light food. Tea is harmful to health because it contains caffeine. Even chai is fine. Green tea is allowed but not recommended. It's better not to drink tea at all since it contains caffeine. Green tea is simply tea. Fermented tea is decayed, and it even contains LSD.
So what should we drink then?
There's nothing to drink, only tea. Besides tea, there's nothing. Tea, coffee, that's it. Nothing else exists. I don't know of any other herbs or plants on earth.
What if herbs aren't allowed?
Why aren't herbs allowed? Who said they're not? You can't have them? Why not? Can you have mint?
No, I can't have anything right now.
Who excluded them and why? All right, if herbs are excluded, let's talk about that. I'll explain the principles of understanding plant parts so you can see their purpose. Herbal greens, stems, and leaves calm and relax a person. That's their principle. If you need relaxation because you're tired at work, the stems and leaves of plants relieve tension. Which plant? The one that works for you, the one you like? Tension is alleviated by this type of product. All teas are made from leaves and stems of plants. Herbal tea. There are also teas made with spices. These are sweet spices like cardamom, fennel, and anise. Teas aren't made with hot spices. That would be soup. Teas made with sweet spices are meant to tone the body and provide energy. These are morning teas. Evening teas are simply herbs, chamomile, mint. Flowers also make soothing teas. Yarrow flowers, immortelle flowers, good for daytime and evening. Flowers influence hormonal functions. They don't just soothe, but also bring happiness. Happiness plus relaxation, that's flower tea. Leaves and stems relax. This is herbal tea. Why do people think there's nothing other than the tea plant? I'll explain. The tea plant gives a person a sense of happiness. When someone drinks tea, they feel good. Along with this sense of happiness, the person connects with something called a spirit of merriment. Wine, coffee, tea, drugs, specifically cannabis leaves, poppy pods, all of these are linked to merrymaking spirits. When a person starts consuming these, they often can't imagine using other herbs anymore, so what should they drink instead? If tea is off the table, then it's coffee. Cocoa doesn't contain caffeine, so it's allowed. Coffee, however, is not. Poor tea. There's something odd there too. I've tried it. There's something merriment-inducing about it. When life feels dull, people drink it.
How do you break free?
To break free, you need to find joy in prayer. A higher taste always replaces a lower one. Never aim to detach or attach. If you're addicted to tea, coffee, wine, or drugs, don't try to force detachment or attachment. Rule number 1, focus your mind on something else. If you feel like drinking tea, drink it. But think about something else. Try to find a higher source of happiness. Prayer, sports, or a beloved activity. Engage in what brings you joy in life. When you do this, the presence of merrymaking spirits in your life decreases. That's all.
Tell me, what principle determines what you can eat and how to break a fasting?
It is determined by the principle of compatibility with a person, the person's ability to digest food. Proteins, fats, carbohydrates is a silly theory. It's right, but it's silly. It's right from the perspective of those people who perceive the world as a combination of chemical elements, because the very nature of food copies this idea. Don't think about proteins, fats, carbohydrates, for example, leaves, just leaves. Let's say you can eat leaves as a salad, or you can stew them and make stewed leaves. Such dishes exist. All leaves balance the organism, they create balance in the body. This is the healthiest food. If you eat leaves, you are a healthy person, and you don't need to think about how many proteins, fats, and carbohydrates there are. It's meaningless because for health you need to perceive this world from an energetic perspective, not from the perspective of chemical elements. If there's something wrong with the food, you won't be able to eat it, you won't like it, therefore there is no need to discuss it. And if you force yourself to eat, then you're crazy. We won't analyze anything specific now. We have free consultations on our website. They will tell you. I'm telling you in general terms what health is. Greens are the main food for being healthy because this food makes balance possible. Therefore, I will make a statement now. This is another crazy statement that will undoubtedly be criticized on various quasi-religious websites. They will explain what a scoundrel and fraudster I am. I will still say this because I want people to be healthy and happy. There are plants that should rightfully be called the heritage of our people. Unfortunately, we haven't recognized them, but they grow in every yard. Such plants are a unique source of health for humans. They are called amaranth and lamb's quarters. These plants should be grown right on the windowsill. Perhaps amaranth is the best? It grows better? What is it? It's a weed that you see every day on the street. It has such a panicle up and a couple of panicles on the sides when it grows, remember? It has such burdock-like leaves on the sides. There are burdock-like leaves, then a fluffy-like panicle going up, and a couple of panicles on the sides. Look up the word amaranth on the internet. You'll see mostly cultivated varieties. What to do with this thing? Let this thing grow on your windowsill. The windowsill should be used to grow greens. They are expensive, you know. Can you imagine if you stew spinach? You'll have really high food expenses because you'll need big quantities of greens. You understand? They cook down. It will cost an unreasonable amount of money to buy spinach every time. What is amaranth? You plant these tiny seeds. They're inexpensive. You can find them without problems. It grows to about this size. You just cut it and put it in a pan. Then pour water and stew it. It's so delicious. Just like that, the taste is great. You can just use these leaves with soft stems. While the stem is soft, you need to cut it like this. You can just put it in a blender and make green juice and drink it. If you eat this food, half of your health problems are solved because greens are very beneficial for humans. You can add this amaranth to salad simply. It's approximately the same as lettuce leaf, approximately the same as spinach leaf, but cheaper. You can eat more of it during the day because it grows very quickly. It doesn't require any special care. If you, let's say, sow a lot of seeds, they will all sprout and there will just be such a green canvas. You will trim them and eat, that's all. They will grow more and more. You should know that the word amaranth is a Sanskrit word. A means no, mara means death. Amaranth means leading to immortality. Can you imagine? And we have this good thing growing wherever we go. I'm telling you, I've tested it. I've been eating these greens at home for 2 years. When I come home, what do? I grow this thing in my garden. It grows for me. At first, my neighbors thought it was a drug plant. They thought it was hemp. It's also big like that. They thought I was a drug addict, especially since I'm always walking around smiling, being so happy. I explained to them that I'm a medical science candidate in researching health, how to eat correctly. That's why I eat these greens. They say, now it's clear. Now they call me professor. Back then they called me a drug addict. It's all very simple. I grow these greens, cut them and cook them. They cook down. I pack them in plastic containers and put them in the freezer. Then they defrost and taste the same as fresh. All winter, autumn and spring, instead of stewed vegetables, I always have these greens. Especially when a person leads a difficult lifestyle, has many trips, this is the best way to maintain balance in the body. This food is very light for seriously ill people, for people with poor digestion, with allergic diseases, asthma, skin diseases. Just eat greens alone, and you will say goodbye to asthma, skin diseases, and allergies. You just need to balance it. Half of raw greens can be just cucumbers along with parsley or dill. Be sure to add sour cream to all of this. Dairy food also helps health a lot. You can cook amaranth together with butter or sour cream. This thing turns out very tasty, healthy, and cheap, almost free.
Can we add spices?
Yes, you can add spices in small amounts.
What about lamb's quarters?
Lamb's quarters are the same. It's bitter when raw. You should eat it stewed. Raw amaranth is also slightly bitter, but not very much at all. Who drinks amaranth juice? Raise your hand. Who has tried it? Bitter? It's okay, not very bitter. You can't drink lamb's quarters as juice, but when you fry it, you can't distinguish it from spinach. It's exactly the same. You can't tell the difference when you stew it, and everything else is a matter of taste. I've told you two things that everyone will like. They're simple. It's like bread. You know, everyone likes bread. Well, you can come up with something else to eat, but that's not classic. You understand? It's not something that everyone will find tasty. You can stew sorrel or something else. There are many, many such plants. We definitely won't die of hunger. These stewed greens are very high in protein. It's good food that gives health and has immeasurable amounts of vitamins and everything else. You know what else you can do? Just take wheat seeds and grow them on the windowsill too. They quickly grow to this size. While these wheat leaves are very green, before the stem has grown, when just 2 or 3 green leaves have come out, cut them and put them in a blender. You get such green juice. It has a sweet taste and is very beneficial for health. This is exactly what body cleansing is. You need to eat amaranth every day just to live, but you need these wheat sprouts to help eliminate all excess substances. You can drink 1 glass of it in the morning. This is a great thing for cleansing the intestines and everything else. Let me tell you a bit more about food now. The leaves and stems of herbs calm a person. And we also said that when we fry these fresh greens, it gives balance to the body. Speaking about total body cleansing, I suggest eating only raw food for several months during summertime. It's dangerous to do it in winter. You can get polyarthritis, osteochondrosis, and severe tension of the nervous system. Wintertime is not for a raw food diet. Raw food eating is not a lifelong diet. You should know it. People rush into a raw food diet because their body is yearning for it. I know many such people, and they all end it after about 1.5 years. This is the maximum you can do for yourself. After that, mental tension begins. Raw food can put a lot of strain on your mental state. Therefore, it is best to eat it only in the summertime and in the sun. The best option is to go somewhere to vacation in sunny countries, where there are no infections of any kind. You know why people get intestinal infections? From indigestion. First of all, the local food is very spicy. If you eat it with chili, it immediately burns the entire intestine. Then bacteria settle there and dysentery begins, a classic scenario. There are 2 causes of all food infections in hot countries. The first cause is overheating in the sun, and the second cause is spicy food overheating from the inside. The best thing is to eat only raw food there, buy greens and eat them, and you will cleanse your body with the help of the sun and water. You won't feel hunger or that you're lacking something. Everything will be fine. If you want to seriously cleanse the subtle energy body, just try to live on greens for a week, 2 or 3, because raw food is like fasting, static exercises, or trees that you need to lean against. It deeply cleanses the subtle energy body and prolongs life, because this way you treat your chronic diseases. Raw food for a long time, for 6 months, cleanses the subtle energy body and rids a person of chronic diseases. What food to eat? Whatever you like. What you like will heal you. That's what you need. And don't think that you should eat what you don't like instead. Eat what you like. Now, when should you not eat raw food? You shouldn't eat it if you are very tense, if you have joint problems, and if you have high blood pressure. And also you shouldn't eat raw food when you sleep poorly at night and get very cold in winter. That means a raw food diet is dangerous altogether in this case. But if you're constantly hot, if you can't sleep, if it's hot, even on winter nights, if you have constant inflammatory processes, if you're very nervous, irritable, and angry, this means that you definitely need at least half of your diet to be raw food. I recommend everyone in Moscow to eat no less than half raw food in their diet, no less, because Moscow lacks prana. What is prana? It's the energy of trees, wind, water, and plants. It's the energy that gives a person the ability to breathe easily, to feel good, great. This is what the body lives on. This is the energy that gives us health, and Moscow has almost none of it because buildings and asphalt block it. There are 2 ways to get prana in the body. Either external energy gives prana or internal. That's why in Moscow half of the food should be raw, salads for example. Some people like salads with oil, others with sour cream. Choose what you like more. For a person who lives here, you should eat salad first, because in India there's a different eating schedule. First salad, then hot food. You can have soup at the end if you have strong digestion. If your digestion is weak, you should eat soup at the beginning. But we start with salad, then soup, various hot dishes, and finish with something slightly sweet. You can start with a slightly sweet drink and then salad. You can start this way too. I'm talking about lunch. Because in the evening it's better to have mono-eating. For example, you stew zucchini and eat it. The less variety of products, the better everything digests in the evening. What concerns roots? You should eat any root vegetables to overcome your fate. This food is healing. That means it dissolves everything and increases immunity. They reduce infertility in men, give women vitality and body protection, but destabilize the psyche. They don't balance, they energize. Therefore, you should eat roots only in the first half of the day, best at lunch. We don't eat root vegetables in the evening because the night will be sleepless and active in this case. The best root vegetable that treats male infertility and makes a man have many children, ginseng root. Not in pills, but find the roots. You should brew them and drink. It's best to do it in the first half of the day. If there's male infertility, the treatment is simple. Do exercises, move, and drink ginseng root. If men have sexual weakness, meaning they lose semen quickly, it means there's overheating of the body in this area. You need more raw food. You have to eat raw root vegetables and stay in cold water. Cold water cleanses the body from overheating. Rhodiola rosea is for female infertility. This root improves female hormones. They can't be compared, they're different things. For male infertility, only ginseng is suitable. There are other products that treat both female and male infertility, but these products are for treatment, not for life, because they spoil character. If you consume them constantly, they will definitely spoil your character. These are horseradish, onion, and garlic.
According to the Vedas, they are forbidden.
When you come to India, everyone there eats onion and garlic. There's nowhere to eat without it. They are forbidden in certain spiritual traditions. I studied this topic. Avicenna discovered these products for treating weakness of sexual functions, but people understood that they need a lot of it. Onion improves hormonal functions in women who suffer from infertility. For men, it's garlic and horseradish. All these products are dangerous for humans in large quantities. There are different kinds of products, in pure goodness, in passion, and in degradation. We eat products in pure goodness for meditation, for prayer, for calming the soul. They are fruits, milk, and honey. We need other products for activity. These are vegetables, root vegetables, and grains. Grain is a special product. We'll talk about that too. We need them for life, for activity. There are special products that have an aggressive nature. If you plant an onion, even insects don't land on it. They're afraid. Onion, garlic, and horseradish are widely used to destroy various insects in the garden. You need 4 products to kill all insects in the garden, in different combinations with each other. They are hot pepper, onion, garlic, and horseradish, nothing else. Why? Because these are aggressive plants. They have a very heavy nature. Even insects can't handle them, let alone humans.
What about chili pepper?
Chili pepper is a terrible product. You definitely shouldn't eat it. Even many Indians are refusing it now. Because the further south a person lives, the more spicy taste, they need to be healthy. I moved from Moscow to the Krasnodar region. I started with non-spicy pepper. There's this long pepper, it's semi-spicy. I started adding it to food little by little. Why? Because there's a lack of spicy taste in the south. And in the north, people don't need spicy taste at all. Speaking of chili peppers, it's such a spicy pepper that it shouldn't be eaten at all, even by Indians. There's a lot of diabetic and intestinal disorders in India now. This is 100% sure because of chili. And all doctors, when they see diabetes and intestinal dysfunction, prohibit eating chili peppers. What about us? We absolutely must not eat chili peppers. Even small red peppers are forbidden for us. It's a harmful product for health. Also, we should not eat fried tomatoes and tomato paste. It's harmful for health too. We can eat only fresh tomatoes and salads. They create a very strong acidity, which erodes the stomach and intestines. This product isn't good for health.
What about mustard?
Mustard is fine. What does garlic do? Garlic activates semen, increases semen activity. If a man always eats garlic, it continuously activates his semen activity, and this reduces life expectancy and increases mental irritability. Men shouldn't eat it all the time. If you've decided to conceive a child, then eat it. It's better to take ginseng. It doesn't cause character disorders. Garlic causes arrogance. Onion increases lust. And what about horseradish? It doesn't even need explanation. It's self-evident. A person becomes vulgar if they consume that kind of product. Onion, garlic, and horseradish are products of degradation. They lower energy downward and make a person similar to an animal. These 3 products act this way. And there are spices that lower energy but don't make a person similar to an animal. It's a safatida, a spice. It's a resin from a certain tree. It also lowers energy downward. And it's good for women. It improves hormonal functions in a woman's body. It calms men down and also lowers energy downward, but it doesn't increase lust. And these 3 products are dangerous for health if you consume them constantly. Ginger and cinnamon, on the contrary, raise energy upward. These spices are dangerous if you use them in the evening. You can only eat them in the morning and during the day. People with high blood pressure shouldn't eat cinnamon and ginger at all. I won't tell you about all the products now, otherwise our lecture will take too long. I don't want to dive deep into this topic now. I had lectures about products at the festival. All lectures can be downloaded for free. If you want to learn about products, there are lots of such lectures there. You can listen to them. I want to tell you about general things. It's more important. I want to tell you important general things now that will greatly help your health. Shall we deal with this? Let's then talk about different groups of products. For example, fruits increase optimism. You should eat them if you are depressed and there's no joy in life. Especially women need them. In the morning, fruits help to be optimistic. Choose the fruits that you like and they will give you optimism. Eat them every day. Next, berries cleanse the body. Fasting on berries improves metabolism. Choose the berries that you like. They will improve your metabolism. Fasting on berries once a week is good to combine with bathing and sun exposure. You can fast on watermelons or melons. You can't fast on both watermelons and melons simultaneously. Only one type of berry is allowed. Watermelons and melons regulate water balance in the body. If someone has swelling, or conversely, a flabby body, it means the water balance is disturbed. Fasting on watermelons or melons increases body tone. The body becomes firm. The flabbiness of the body disappears. Such fasting is better to do in summer because they are highly cooling products, but these products are dangerous for health in another season. Next, grains. Any grains. What is grain? These are plants that grow in ears. Buckwheat is not a grain, it doesn't grow in ears. Corn is a grain, it grows in ears. There are also legumes. Legumes are pods. What is grain? It's a product that improves mental activity. When a person works hard mentally, uses a lot of mental energy, they need grain. The best products that improve mind activity are rice and wheat, or if speaking more precisely, wheat and rice are better for us. Because rice is better for those who live in hot countries, and wheat is better for those who live in cold countries. These are 2 products that greatly improve mental activity, but it's best to eat them when the sun is high. The law is very simple. The product that ripens in the sun should be eaten when the sun is high. If, let's say, wheat ripens only in bright sun and only on a sunny day, this means that we can eat wheat from 11 a.m. until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And you can't eat wheat earlier than that or later. Otherwise, digestion becomes very difficult and diseases develop from this. You should eat bread during the day, not in the evening. It's not evening food, I'm telling you for sure. All diseases associated with improper nutrition arise because people eat bread late in the evening.
What should a person eat to gain weight?
To gain weight, I advise you to shift your meals to the first half of the day and move actively. If you move actively, you will gain weight. You should move and eat well in the first half of the day.
And how can others gain weight?
In such cases, I say, if I have hemorrhoids and you have hemorrhoids, it would be so nice for us to talk about it. But others will be bored. We have a general lecture, so we're talking about general things. So let's move forward. Above ground vegetables have a calming effect on the mind. They are intended for those who are very excited. They calm a person down, relax the psyche. When a person has a very strong, tense tone, they remove this tone. They are good for women to restore hormonal functions and help treat female infertility. Above ground vegetables such as zucchini, eggplants, cabbage, and everything that grows above ground help with this. And root vegetables, those that grow underground, on the contrary, tone up, increase immunity, and are good for improving digestion and for male infertility. All flowers are for treating hormonal functions. Flower spices, for example, saffron and others, all improve hormonal functions. If hormonal functions are suffering, then flower spices help. For example, various stamens and cloves help well. Fruit spices greatly improve digestion and tone up a person. These are black pepper, white pepper, and mustard as well. If we talk about improving immunity and treating viral infections, I recommend 3 spices: mustard, black and white pepper. You should eat them to avoid getting the flu. These spices kill viruses. What types of food did we forget? I have said about greens, that means leaves.
Legumes.
Legumes are meant for heavy physical labor. If a person works physically, carries logs, they need to eat more beans, legume food. People often confuse meat with legumes. They think that they need meat for heavy physical labor. Meat is hard to digest food.
What about mushrooms?
Mushrooms are a sore subject. They are tasty and harmful. Harmful, my dears, they're harmful. I have an acquaintance. She works at the sanitary and epidemiological station of a region. She shared the statistics. Every year, entire families die from eating normal mushrooms. They collected butter mushrooms, ate them, and all died to the last person. There are two reasons for this. First, they become poisonous due to improper solar activity. And second, if some animal died there, its body would start to rot there. Mushrooms absorb all this decay and become poisonous. Mushrooms can't be healthy food because they are conditionally pathogenic, semi-poisonous products. You understand? Eating these mushrooms is like playing the lottery. Why does botulism and everything else develop in them? Because it's dangerous food for health.
What about sunflower seeds?
Sunflower seeds are superfood.
And nuts?
I'm going to tell you about sunflower seeds and nuts now. These are all the same type of products. This product strengthens the mind. It gives stable mental energy. It enables a person to work hard for a very long time without getting tired, whether mentally or physically. But nuts are a product that people don't know how to eat. There are several types of products that people don't know how to eat, and therefore don't use them. One such product is flower pollen. Do you know that it's one of the most beneficial products on earth, but people don't know what to do with it? You should add it to soup. It's a spicy dish, even though it seems sweet. You can add it to soup. I always sprinkle it in my soup when I eat. The same goes for nuts. You should add them to grains and cook nuts with grains, or you can add them to soup, throw them in and cook with soup, or just throw them fresh into soup. You should eat this product with salty dishes and then it will be well absorbed. You can eat a lot of them, it's beneficial. Children eat nuts without anything, because they need them. Now listen about children's nutrition. It's very simple. Sweet taste, flour products, nuts and milk. That's all. Children don't need anything else. And also they need such fruits like bananas and dates. Children can have porridge late in the evening. Children can have everything. Until the age of 7, a person is on a lunar cycle, and a nursing woman and a child don't need to think about eating and sleeping routines. They eat when they want and sleep when they want. This refers to nursing women and children under 7. Then a person moves on to the solar cycle. This means following a daily routine.
Only nursing women?
Nursing and pregnant women. A pregnant woman also eats when she wants. These are the rules.
Tell us about kiwi.
I will talk only about kiwi in the next lecture. Today I want to talk about general patterns. You just can't understand me. We don't understand each other today. Everyone asks about what they like. There are special products. There are 2 planets, Venus and Mercury. These 2 planets are responsible for health in our body. Speaking of Mercury, it's all about greens. That's why I'm saying you need to eat as many greens as possible, especially in big cities, and you will definitely be healthier. It's guaranteed. I'm telling you for sure. There are several other products that give health. This is an important thing. You must know this. It is connected with the planet Venus. It's avocado. You need to eat more of it because this product gives balance in the body. Mercurian products connect everything in the body. The body becomes monolithic and strong, and Venusian products are light. They're well absorbed. These are avocado and sesame. You should add sesame seeds everywhere you want, to all dishes. They improve digestion and improve food absorption in the body. The quality of digestion increases from Venusian products. Coconut has the same property. It's also connected with Venus. Local products are connected with Venus.
Everything in the store is local.
Local food is connected with Venus. For example, corn. It grows here. Well, suggest some other local products? Okay, let's continue. Plums improve brain circulation. You should eat plums to balance the body. You can do cleansing of the body on fruits. There are different types of fruits. For example, apples. They give optimism. And plum is a special product that is connected with blood circulation. If a person suffers from poor circulation, they can eat plums. And you can eat plums too. Plum diet. If you eat fresh plums, your blood circulation is restored. Fasting on plums restores blood circulation. Pears are toning food. They give tone. They increase immunity and tone up a person. What else concerns you? Cherry improves blood circulation, gives optimism to a person. It's a toning product too, and it also improves blood functions. Cherry is good for treating anemia. Cherry is such a product that restores blood circulation and the formation of blood cells at a deep level. Also, it treats depression well. Rowan is one of the best berries for improving immunity. Rowan is a very powerful product. If you add 4 or 5 rowan berries to tea, a person becomes very resistant to any viral infections. Red rowan and black rowan influences blood vessels. It reduces blood pressure and restores the balance of cerebral circulation. I'm going to tell you now several things that will work as first aid. First aid from local products. Listen to me, this is very important what I'm going to say now. If someone tells you, my heart hurts or pancreas or kidneys, you should take a tablespoon of oats. It can be oat flakes or fresh oats. Then put it in a handkerchief and tie it to all 4 limbs, to these zones. Within 5 minutes, the pain will go away. This removes spasms of kidneys and pancreas. My relative was developing diabetes. She wore oat bandages for 2 weeks, and diabetes didn't develop. She didn't get this disease. You can tie some food products with bandages to wrists and ankles for 12 hours and then change to fresh ones. It works for 12 hours.
What if diabetes has already developed?
Diabetes means too much heat in the body. You need to eat only raw food or as much raw food as possible. This makes life easier, but if you've gotten on insulin, I don't know what to do about it. It destroys the body's function. If a person hasn't started insulin yet, they can heal with raw food. If they eat only greens, this disease can be cured.
So insulin dependency can't be cured?
You can at least maintain health. You can maintain it. You can't stop insulin. Did you remember about oats? If you have cerebral circulation problems, plums and prunes can help. If a person suffers from cerebral circulation problems, you need to tie prunes to all 4 limbs. 1 prune or 1 plum, it can be dried or fresh, and cerebral circulation is restored immediately.
What about migraines?
Migraines are spasms of brain vessels or strong brain tension. There are 2 types of migraines. Some occur from spasms, others from tension. To remove tension, you need to do static exercises, especially the shoulder stand pose. You should do this pose not during a migraine, but throughout your life. You should stand with your legs up for 15 minutes every day. Gradually, the excess tension is removed and headaches go away. Do you understand what exercise this is? Legs up and we stand on our shoulders. Then you need to make a lock. What does this mean? You are standing with your chin pressed to your chest. Now lift your head and chin up a little bit for a minute so that the balance in the body is restored. If these are spasmodic migraines, you can put asafoetida in your mouth to suck. It's such an Indian spice. Also, you can put a cabbage leaf or several fresh cabbage leaves on your head. They remove spasms. Asafoetida removes spasms too. Furthermore, a contrast shower removes spasms. What's the difference between them? Spasms are sharp, unexpected headaches with nausea and vomiting. If migraines happen because of increased tension, they grow gradually and torment for a long time. If it's gradual, then do the shoulder stand pose.
If there's low blood pressure?
If you have low blood pressure, you should eat cinnamon, fruits, dried fruits, and honey in the morning. Morning food increases blood pressure. Sweet morning food increases blood pressure and gives a tone to the body. And also you need movement. Most women have low blood pressure. Do you know why? Because women are relaxed beings. That's why their pressure tends to be low. They need to force themselves to move a little, best of all with their husband. It's very difficult for a woman to do it alone, but it's easier with a husband. You should do exercises and all movement in the morning. Morning is the best time for this.
What about congenital myopia in a child? If vision is deteriorating?
Myopia means that the muscle tissue inside the brain is tense. It comes from the eye muscles. Regarding treatment, contact us for a free consultation about specific illnesses. We will either give advice or treat. Let's discuss general topics now. How to be healthy. Our goal is to be healthy.
What about the spiritual aspect of diseases?
I discussed the spiritual aspect of disease in other lectures. They make up 90% of my lectures. But I have few lectures about health.
Could you tell us more about edema, what to do to prevent it?
No, I can't. Let's move on to fasting. There's a lot of literature on how to start and end fasting. I'm telling you the patterns. Fruit fasting treats depression. Fruits for fasting: apples, pears, and plums. Don't choose oranges and tangerines. It's dangerous because they ignite fire in the body. There might be inflammatory processes. Fasting on berries that grow on trees is for improving blood circulation, metabolism, activity in life, workability and tone. It is generally for overall activity. Berries that grow on the ground are for weight loss, improving metabolism, restoring hormonal functions. In general, they remove excess substances from the body. They remove all unnecessary substances from the body. I especially want to emphasize fasting on beets mixed with carrots. This fasting expels fat and increases metabolism. All products have different combinations. The products should be raw. Juices are best, and it's better to dilute them with water. Mix them so that it's not unpleasant for you. Fasting on carrots and beets activates metabolism very much. If you want to lose weight, you can do it either on Friday or Tuesday. 2 options once a week. I also emphasize, please don't fast for 2 or 3 days. It's very dangerous for health. Better choose just 1 day. Dry fasting is intended only for spiritual life. Don't do it for health under any circumstances because you can ruin your health with it. The main sign that you need to stop urgently is the desire to eat. Dry fasting can only be done by people who are immersed in a relationship with God and don't want to eat during the fasting. When the desire to eat appears during dry fasting, it corrodes the stomach, intestines, and a breakdown begins. The body's adaptation occurs. Dry fasting means I'm flying, enjoying life, praying, and forgetting about everything. Dry fasting extends life. Dry fasting gives a person the ability to overcome challenges. Tumors are dissolved from dry fasting, but only people who think very hard about God can dissolve tumors by dry fasting. This is a risky type of fasting. Water fasting is better, it's gentler, and more delicate. The next type of fasting is fasting on sprouted grains. It helps to increase the body's vitality. If a person is in a post-operative period and feels they're not recovering, has no strength, then sprouted grains are recommended. It's better to grind them and drink with water, or you can slightly boil them to reduce their activity. Or grind them thoroughly and drink with water like juice so that they are better absorbed, or add them to salads. If we're talking purely about fasting, it's difficult for a person to digest sprouted grains alone. You should have them in juice form or slightly boiled to make them act milder. This fasting tones the body, activates it, and it becomes strong. People say, I feel weak, I lack vitamins. Then use sprouted grains. What can you sprout? Everything. All seeds that are connected with our life, from grains to spices, can be sprouted. Don't be afraid, be bold. If people eat something, you can sprout it. Don't fear, you can sprout any product. You can sprout any seed. It can be sprouted up to 2 centimeters maximum. You can sprout them a little bit. This will have more nutritional properties for gaining weight. If you sprout them more to obtain greens, this is for energy, for movement. If you want to gain weight, it's also good to sprout grains. Let them just begin to sprout. You can let wheat just begin to sprout and eat it, and you will gain weight. To have more strength, you need to let them grow into greens and fast on that. Is the system clear? Fasting on raw above-ground vegetables, zucchini, pumpkin, and patty pan squash is useful for women to regulate hormonal functions and cure infertility. And also such fasting is useful for men who feel they have too much fire in their body is tense, and they're restless. A very tense, restless person should eat only raw or semi-cooked zucchini all day. Zucchini, pumpkin, and patty pan squash relax a person. Tension goes away due to this fasting. Fasting on root vegetables boosts immunity. If you add celery, you do not just lose your weight, but also increase your immunity significantly. If you add parsley to beets, carrots, celery, and parsnip root, immunity greatly increases. A person becomes strong for treating infection. I got the flu, can't recover, nothing helps. Then you should eat raw roots. There will be an immediate immunity boost. Strength will appear in the body. If you're eating raw roots during one day, the strength appears. Fasting on nuts is a dangerous type of fasting. It is for extreme conditions. You know, when warriors fought in ancient cultures, they took nuts, sprouted grains, beans, and sprouted wheat with them. They ate this food while fighting. They didn't have enough strength to fight. This means that eating only nuts is difficult. It's a hard-to-digest food, but it's good in extreme conditions. For example, you're going to the mountains with tents. In this case, you can take nuts, sprouted grains. You eat them, and you have enough energy to go to the mountains and overcome your fate.
Is it possible to roast nuts or not?
Roasted ones are easier to digest if they are not roasted in the oven but slightly dried. This is not called roasting. The nuts need to be dried a little, not roasted. Dry them. When they are dried, they become highly digestible for health. Nutmeg helps you relax, calm down, and relieve tension. If you eat 2 nutmegs at once, you will begin to have hallucinations. Therefore, it should not be given to children or young men who are interested in these processes. But it's a good food for health, especially if it's taken in small doses.
Can we eat potatoes?
The potato is the most popular vegetable and certainly a good product. Eat it throughout the day, but by no means in the evening or in the morning. Do not combine it with other products, as it is not digestible. For instance, this traditional mashed potato is a very unhealthy food. It should be eaten half raw, slightly boiled, but not too much, and it will be very healthy. And if you make mashed potatoes out of it, then you can say goodbye to health. That's 100%. Oh, and I forgot to tell you about food preparation. Here's what you definitely shouldn't do. If you stew vegetables, they shouldn't turn into mush. Vegetables should be half raw, stewed in large pieces. You understand? There should be very little fried food in your diet. Fried food destroys the body and increases the tendency to inflammatory processes. The best nutrition is stewed food. This cooking method is called stewing, like baking food in a Russian oven, for example. This cooking method is called baking. The second option is steaming. What's the difference between these options? If a person feels very hot, steaming is better. If they feel cold, then baking is better. This means that baked food increases the heat in the body, while steamed food decreases it. These are the two best ways to cook food: steaming and baking. You can stew products in water, but if you fry in oil, you can do that too, but just a little bit. Consumption of foods fried in oil in large quantities highly overloads the liver and pancreas. If you have a sick pancreas, you shouldn't fry food in oil. And if you want to know what kind of oil you can fry with, it's only clarified butter. Don't use any other oil for frying. It's very dangerous to health.
And in general, how much oil and butter should be used and when?
That's a good question. You should safely consume a lot of butter and oil at lunch, because without them, the food is not digested. It's very popular now to eat without butter or oil, but it is dangerous for health. You should know that atherosclerosis occurs not from oil in food, but from meat. You understand? Atherosclerosis is when the subtle energy body of the mind stiffens. As a result, metabolism begins to be disturbed in many directions, and the subtle energy body freezes from befoulment. When a person doesn't move well, rarely, the subtle energy body stiffens. When a person is fond of meat food, because this energy of violence strongly penetrates into the psyche, the subtle energy body also stiffens. The subtle energy body is frozen by the food that a person consumes. For example, when they eat it not freshly cooked but after many hours. When a person eats a lot of such food, the subtle energy body also begins to stiff. It's like the subtle energy body is running out of shelf life. This food is also harmful for longevity and health. You can add some salty food to your meals, but it shouldn't be the main food. This is very important to understand. Things are different with dried food. Dried food can be soaked and eaten. It's good and healthy. But fermented food is dangerous for health. You can't eat a lot of it, just a little bit.
And what should we do with sprouted seeds in winter?
Well, sprout them on the windowsill, eat them fresh.
Is it possible to do a one-day water fasting?
One-day water fasting sounds great.
What do we need to do during intestinal cleansing?
Yes, about intestinal cleansing. That's a good thing to discuss. Let's talk about it. I'll tell you a little bit, but in general terms. Look, body cleansing is a good thing, and I want to tell you one more very important thing. Every person should apply microdoses of oil to their entire body, including their hair, in the morning after taking a shower, using one of the 3 types of oil. This prolongs life. How do you choose the right oil for you? Just try it. These oils never bore you. Ghee. 1. Sesame oil. 2. Coconut oil. 3. These are 3 options of oils that you can use for oiling your body throughout your life. Boost immunity, improvement of the skin condition, healthy hair, better digestion, and increase in life expectancy. How do we do that? Let me explain. When you take a shower, when you've already washed with soap, at the very end take a few drops of oil, apply it to your wet body, and rub it over your entire body. Then take a shower again and towel off. Only a light odor will remain on the body. The oil won't be visible at all. That's what a person needs. On the outside, and slightly greasy hair.
What can you say about cedar oil and the others?
All of these oils overheat the body. I have studied 80 types of oils, all but these 3 oils, and only one of these 3 is suitable for a person. I can test a person and tell them which of these 3 is suitable for them. Coconut oil is suitable for you, but I can't say about everyone.
Flaxseed oil is good for swelling.
You should understand that such a small jar is enough for 5 months. You just need a small drop. You don't need a lot. All oils warm up the body. I have studied 80 types of oils. All of them overheat the person and do not last long. It is possible to treat with such oils, but it's very individual, very dangerous, and it's better not to experiment with them. These 3 oils are suitable for life and give very good health results because they don't overheat. These are cooling oils. There are only 3 of them in nature: ghee, sesame oil, and coconut oil. That's it.
Is it possible to use oils at night?
It is better not to take risks. Try to use it only in the morning once a day while taking a shower. That's it. Anything else can undermine your health. Don't experiment with oil. It's a dangerous thing. Let's move on. Look, the enema. Why is it needed? An enema is needed to treat the intestines. Sometimes it's a nutritional enema. That means that you do a water enema to cleanse the intestines. This should be done sometimes, especially when you start to feel pain in the intestines. Sometimes the intestines get clogged. The enemas are needed to cleanse the intestines, namely to remove all the unnecessary stuff from there and make the body better and healthier from this, because everything that accumulates in the intestines is then absorbed into the blood and the person suffers from it. Next, leeches. They are needed when a person is very angry, their psyche is very inflamed. For example, they get very upset, nervous. Find a doctor who treats with leeches. Don't try to do it yourself, and the doctor will put leeches on their feet. The psyche immediately becomes calm. All that nervousness goes away. The result is simply amazing. It's a very good treatment for body cleansing.
How often should leech therapy be done?
How often does this happen to such people? I would recommend that you do this therapy once every 2 months. And it's not ridiculous. People have a lot of heat in their body, which causes their blood pressure to rise. I recommend this treatment to everyone. But if a person feels cold all the time, they shouldn't even look at these leeches. People just have different constitutions. Now, oil massage. This method of treatment is very effective but also very dangerous, and it should only be done by a serious specialist. I've seen cases where people almost died from oil massage. Moreover, it happens that some oil is just not suitable for a person. It is applied to them, and then they can even get seriously ill without a massage. Be very careful. Now, this treatment method is very popular. This is a very dangerous method, but it's very effective. For instance, in India, there are clinics where such treatment methods are carefully examined. It's called panchakarma. That is, oil massages combined with cleansing, enemas, various laxatives, and everything else. This perfectly cleanses the body and rejuvenates it. But you need to find the right specialist. Unfortunately, I can't even recommend anyone to you, I'm afraid. This treatment method is very powerful but very effective. You won't be able to do this on your own. Only a doctor can do this. Now let's talk about applying oil to some small body parts. If you've learned to understand which of the 3 oils is suitable for you, it will also help you in treatment. If the joint hurts, use the oil that suits you.
How do we figure this out?
How to figure this out? Now I'll tell you how to figure it out. There are 3 ways to figure it out. The first way is to apply one type of oil for a week and observe how you feel. If you feel more energetic, lighter, better, then it's your oil. If you feel hot, stuffy, it's not yours. The second way is to smell it. If the smell is light, fresh, pleasant, cool, this is your oil. And if it's warm, it's not yours. And the third way is to just apply it. When applying the oil, try to feel whether you like it or not. Some people just don't like it. They don't want to do that. That means it's not your oil. For women, the principle like, not like often works.
What should we do if none of the 3 oils are suitable?
Such things don't happen. Who said that? Raise your hand. Sesame oil is suitable for you. I haven't met such people. It's impossible. It doesn't happen because people have only 3 constitutions, and there is a suitable oil for each constitution.
Can we eat ghee?
Ghee is the best oil on earth. Use good quality butter to make ghee. Now, most of the butter in the stores is counterfeit. It's a mixture of palm oil and animal fats. You need to find natural butter. The village old ladies definitely have it. Put a few kilograms of good quality butter in a pot, turn on a low heat, it all melts. A white sediment appears on the bottom. It should be used in cooking rice, various grains. It is also very useful for cooking porridge. And an amber-colored liquid remains on top. This amber liquid must be drained. It's called ghee. It is better to store it in the refrigerator. When solidified, it acquires a light amber-white color, similar to light white amber.
How long does this whole process take?
Well, about 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, everything will melt and an amber color will appear. Don't bring it to boiling. Just let it melt and get an amber color. It will cook a little and split into two parts, amber on top, white on the bottom. Leave the white part for cooking and use ghee for treatment and nutrition. It's best to cook in ghee during the day. In the evening, adding any oil or butter is dangerous for your health. Well, you can still use some butter in the evenings. That's what I want to tell you today in this difficult health lecture. There are a few more important points. First, if you feel a weakness that doesn't go away, your work ability has decreased, someone told you that you smell different, your body odor has changed a little. If you feel some fear for your life, listen, weakness, fear for your life, any bad sorts of feelings and so on. Most likely this means that initially another living entity in the form of a benign tumor has already appeared in your body. Please do not hesitate to use modern examination methods. Don't go to any psychics, any grumpy old ladies, fortune tellers. Just go and examine your whole body. If the weakness persists for about 2 months, and you've already tried to tie yourself to a pine tree, but nothing has passed, this means that there may be some kind of tumor in the body. At the initial stage, it's always easy to treat. But later, when the situation is running, it becomes very difficult to find a treatment method. So remember what I told you. Fear for your life plus weakness. These are the main criteria. Signs that the tumor has penetrated the body. Most people are dying of tumors now. This is life. The causes of tumors are urban life, namely living on high floors, eating meat, stress, lack of physical activity, and negative perceptions of other people.
Does karma impact this?
An unhealthy lifestyle is karma. When a person is prone to stress, has a lack of physical activity, eats a lot of meat, and doesn't like others. Smoking and drinking alcohol in large quantities also strongly contribute to the development of malignant tumors.
Dr. Torsunov, please tell us about pollen allergy.
As for pollen allergies, I can only say one thing. This happens due to overheating of the body. In this case, raw food can help cure pollen allergies. Another method I can suggest is to use granite. Granite is such a red stone. We have tried this method. We make a belt with granite for a person, and during this time they do not have any reaction. They wear this belt, and there's no reaction to ragweed. For instance, my wife is allergic too. She has been wearing it for several months, and now she feels well.
Please tell us, is there any way to cure herpes?
Herpes can be cured if you wear pine bandages.
And what about bacteria and parasites?
Bacteria, parasites. This parasitic theory that all tumors are caused by parasites is complete nonsense. Don't believe it. On the contrary, when the body channels become clogged and malignant tumors develop there, parasites also settle there, because this is a favorable zone for them, so they live together. But the reason is the body aging. This blockage of the channels means the body aging and prevention against tumors and the body aging as a whole. Once again, please listen to me. The first thing is movement. The second thing is fasting, static exercises, which I talked about for a long time in the previous lecture, is the third one. Giving up meat greatly contributes to this. When a person doesn't eat meat, their life is prolonged by 100%. This is especially true of modern meat grown on hormones and antibiotics. Even from a product perspective, this is already a harmful product, not just from the perspective of fate itself.
Tell us, is it worth giving meat to small children?
Why? This is some kind of medieval thinking. Recently, a dissertation on this topic was published in China. It is the most global study in the world. It shows that meat is the main carcinogen, and this is a proven fact. Once I got invited to a TV show. There were some serious doctors there. I was invited too. The country's chief nutritionist was there. Several such nutritionists, professors agreed during the show that meat is the main carcinogen contributing to the development of atherosclerosis. We also talked about cancer. Meat is the main carcinogen. Everyone already knows about this except for these local physicians who constantly torment everyone with this 60-year-old theory that meat should be eaten because of some essential amino acids. This is complete nonsense. Now everyone knows for sure that all food products contain these amino acids which are found in meat. We get them 100% even without meat. This is complete nonsense. I'm officially telling you this as a doctor.
How to treat low hemoglobin.
Low hemoglobin means a lack of air because a person simply doesn't move enough. They are depressed. They lack contact with nature. Just walk 5 kilometers through the forest every day. Goodbye, low hemoglobin. And why is iron not absorbed? Because there's no movement. A person just leads a passive lifestyle. They don't move enough. That's why they have low hemoglobin. For instance, a pregnant woman, why does she have low hemoglobin? The answer is that a lot is absorbed in her body, but she doesn't move enough. She mostly sits like a bump on a log. She needs to be taken outside.
What if she doesn't sit like a bump on a log? You are constantly missing the topic of breathing. There are internal and external practices, and breathing also belongs to these practices.
Thank you for this question. I forgot. This is a complex topic. You know, there's another way to prolong your life. This is the breath holding on inhalation and exhalation. Some people recommend breath holding only on the exhales. This strongly charges the body with energy. Some people recommend doing it only on the inhale. It's very relaxing. As a rule, the classic approach is to hold your breath both as you inhale and exhale. When a person holds their breath while inhaling and exhaling during prayer, they prolong their life. During these breath holdings, these subtle energy channels are cleansed. Long static exercises, not like in yoga, when you do a little and move on to the next one, but long ones, like Orthodox Christians who stand motionless during night vigils. This prolongs life. All subtle energy channels are cleansed. This means that a person doesn't move in a certain body position for a long time. It prolongs life. This is the first thing. The second thing is fasting. Breath holdings is the third one. And I highly recommend it to you, my dear ones, because you live in Moscow. If you see a large tree in the city center that suits you, stand next to it for 20 minutes a day. In a month, you will say goodbye to chronic diseases. This tree will simply cleanse all the energy channels, and it will do it so sequentially, gradually, from outside to inside. This means that it will be hard to stand in the last few minutes. Then the deepest energy channels will be cleansed.
Do we need to choose the same tree?
It's best to use the same tree. If you find one that suits you, then you don't need any others, just this one.
What if the city has a bad ecology?
It will be a great help for you. The trees here are not the same as in the Himalayas or in Siberia, in the taiga, but they are still trees. You understand? Their energy is 10 times stronger than human energy. You just stand next to this tree, stay there, and it will bring you much more health than if you didn't do it. If we talk about ecology, then we breathe this environmental air more than anything else in the world. People often think that trees in the city are harmful. The most harmful thing is the air. So many toxins pass through this air every day. Let's forget about everything else. After all, you're not eating a tree, you're just standing next to it. It just gives you energy, and that's it. Well, it's time for us to finish now, my dears.
How much water should we drink?
How much water should you drink? Yes, that's a good question. Thanks for asking this question. Please drink as much water as you want. It is very important. Listen to me. It's different for everyone. For instance, my body needs a lot of water, about 3-4 liters per day. And Maxim, the doctor who travels with me, needs very little. He drinks a liter a day. And if he drinks more, he'll get sick. Do you know how to do this? If you don't feel dry in your mouth, it means you have enough water in your body. If dryness appears, drink a little. That's it. It's different for everyone. If you drink too little, you'll get sick. If you drink too much, you'll get sick too. There's a theory that if you drink a lot, then you'll be healthy. The toilet will definitely break in this case, but I'm not sure about your health. As for your specific diseases, we have free consultations on the website. Sign up, ask questions, get advice. This is not the place to discuss specific diseases. We're talking in general about how to survive in this world. You understand? We're talking about common things.
Dr. Torsunov, could you share your opinion about Russian fireweed?
This is a very useful herb. It's a complete tea substitute. It energizes but doesn't give that hallucinogenic effect of happiness. This means that you can safely drink it every day without experiencing overload. It's a tonic herb that gives vigor and health. This is a very good thing. There are several tea substitutes since we have touched on this topic. The first substitute is rosehip. Don't be afraid to try it. It energizes and has no negative effects. If you liked rosehip tea, then it gives you health, energy, vigor every day, and no problems at all. Did you remember this information? This is the first option. The second option is mint, especially for those who feel hot. It cools and energizes at the same time. The third option is fireweed, but do not drink it at night. It energizes. These are the only 3 options. If you have drowsiness, then use sprouted grains, as well as walk and stand next to trees. Take a walk, stand next to trees and sprouted grains, then there will be no drowsiness, I guarantee. Drowsiness means a lack of prana, subtle energy. Trees give a person prana, cleanse, subtle energy channels. As a result, a person becomes vigorous, active, and protected. If you stand next to a tree for 20 minutes, the probability of tumor development in the body is equal to 0. I can't guarantee anything, of course. You might overeat late in the evening, then stand near a tree. I don't know what lifestyle you will lead. But if you live correctly and stand near a tree, there's 0 probability of tumor development in the body. If all energy channels are cleansed, the tumor cannot develop, because it develops when these channels get blocked in your body due to physical inactivity.
Are trees alive in winter too?
Trees are also alive in winter. They breathe in winter. Energy flows through them. They use energy to live and breathe in winter. In summer, they live through sap as well. But in winter, they consume energy. Just like yogis sitting in the Himalayas, they don't eat there. They sit right on the snow and meditate. They live off energy, and trees in winter do the same.
What causes premature graying?
I have premature graying too.
Can a palm tree be used instead of a birch?
Palm tree instead of a birch? I won't go into all of that now. Birch is a tree that gives feminine energy, the energy of the planet Venus. And palm trees give Jupiter energy, sometimes sun energy. It's different energy. But why should we discuss this in front of everyone now? Let's not ask such specific questions. Once we were discussing with one lady the topic connection between character and diseases. I was giving a lecture about the connection between character and diseases. And one woman asked, Dr. Torsunov, which character traits determine why only the heel on the right foot sweats? An amazing question. I wish you all happiness, love, spiritual progress, and all the brightest things in your fate. I am very grateful to you for listening to me all this time. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much, and see you soon.